Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really powerful framework from the architecture of self-rescue, awakening your untapped potential. Now, to kick things off, I want to ask you to just think about this morning. You woke up, and before you even grabbed your phone, before the endless notifications and all that daily noise just flooded in, maybe you felt it. You know what I'm talking about, right? That incredibly quiet, kind of heavy feeling right in your chest. That lingering sense that time is just passing by, and yet you're standing in the exact same place. Look, you aren't lazy and you definitely aren't broken, but somewhere between those massive dreams you used to have and your current daily routine, something got lost. Well, this explainer is all about figuring out exactly where it went.
So, I want you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. When was the last time you were truly, deeply proud of yourself? And I don't mean proud just because someone else validated you. I definitely don't mean proud because you got, 100 likes on a post or because you happened to meet someone else's expectations. I mean genuinely, quietly proud of the actual person you are becoming. If you're kind of struggling to answer that right now, don't worry. You are exactly who this explainer is for.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the trap of comfort. Okay, let's dive into this, because the very first roadblock keeping you stuck, well, it probably isn't what you think it is. It's not a lack of money or bad luck or anything like that. It's comfort. We are literally living in the most comfortable era in the history of humanity. And honestly, it's a silent killer of our drive. Just think about the modern comfort trap for a second. You can order a whole meal without ever speaking to a single human being. You can work from your bed in your pajamas. You can consume static entertainment for 12 hours straight without ever moving a muscle. Everything is just so easy. Everything is convenient, it's instant. But here's the catch. When everything is easy, your brain actually stops believing it's capable of doing hard things. You just lose your tolerance for discomfort. Your resilience kind of just fades away.
And when you lose that resilience, your entire world starts to shrink. We all know people who had massive, literally world-changing dreams at 20 years old, right? But by the time they hit 35, they're just managing life. They aren't living it, they sure aren't building it. They're just surviving the week and basically waiting for the weekend. It's like your comfort zone slowly transforms into a prison, keeping you completely locked away from the life you were actually meant to build.
Let's move on to section 2, the comparison disease. The second major roadblock we need to unpack is, quite literally, sitting in your pocket right now. We're talking about the comparison disease. Every single day, you open up social media and you watch other people's absolute greatest moments. Their engagement photos, their big business wins, their brand new houses. But you're comparing their carefully curated, perfectly filtered highlight reel to your messy, behind-the-scenes blooper reel. You're measuring your everyday messy struggles against a complete stranger's victories, and then wondering why you feel so incredibly behind.
But here is the massive reality check. What doesn't that Instagram entrepreneur show you? The 3 totally failed businesses before this one? Actually, scratch that. It's not just the failed businesses. It's the late nights crying over crushing credit card debt. It's the family members who laughed in their face at their ideas. And what about that fitness influencer? They definitely don't post the eating disorder they battled, or the grueling 5 a.m. mornings when they literally wanted to quit, or the painful injuries. Your beautiful pattern-seeking brain is straight up lying to you. It sees all this success and tricks you into thinking you are the only one struggling. You aren't. Nobody posts the struggle. So you absolutely have to internalize this hard truth. Stop measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20. Stop letting the highlight reels of total strangers dim your own light. Your story isn't over. In fact, it is just getting started, and your very best chapter is still entirely unwritten.
Which brings us to section 3, redefining your failures.
Well, we need to shift gears a bit and completely dismantle a concept that holds almost everybody back, the stigma of failure. In places like Europe, failure often carries this deep, paralyzing shame. And in America, even with all the hustle culture, the fear of failure still stops way more dreams than actual failure ever could. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When he was asked how it felt to fail 1,000 times before finally inventing the light bulb, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways that don't work." We have to completely reframe failure. It is absolutely not the opposite of success. It is a fundamental, totally unavoidable prerequisite for success.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Every single person you admire has failed publicly and painfully. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was fired for, get this, lacking imagination. Oprah was told she was unfit for television. Steve Jobs was literally removed from the very company he built. The only difference between them and the people who never made it is that they refused to stay down. Falling down is an accident. Staying down, that's a choice.
Let's look at section 4, the identity shift.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because this brings us to the profound solution for feeling stuck. Look, watching all the motivational content in the world and taking blind action will never, ever be enough if we miss this next step. Most people try to change their results using an action-first approach. They say, I want to be successful, but they still think, talk, and act exactly like someone who isn't. You cannot change your results without first changing your core identity, that deep-seated belief of who you actually are. Identity absolutely must come first.
So, whenever you face a choice, big or small, ask yourself this one simple question. What would the person I want to become do right now? Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not on New Year's Day. Right now. When that alarm goes off, would they hit snooze or would they get up? When faced with a problem, would they sit around complaining or would they take responsibility? Every single decision you make is either a vote for the person you want to become or a vote against them. You need to start casting votes for your future self today.
And finally, Section 5, the truth about time.
As we near the end of our explainer, we have to face the brutal reality of passing time. This right here is the trigger for immediate change. Think back to exactly 5 years ago today. What did you want? What big promises did you make to yourself? Now think about exactly where you are today. Are you actually closer to that vision, or do those 5 years just kind of vanish? Time doesn't pause because you aren't ready. It doesn't wait around while you get comfortable or while you procrastinate. It just keeps moving. And because time just keeps moving, a day is going to come when you sit down and ask yourself what you actually did with it. Did you build anything? Did you truly live? Or did you just exist? Real regret is not the temporary pain of failing. Real haunting regret is looking back at the things you never even tried. The business you never started. The person you never became. All because you were just a little too comfortable or too busy waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the amazing news. You are not too late, you are not too far behind, and you are definitely not too old. The source materials share some incredible proof of reinvention. There's a 45-year-old woman in London starting her very first business after decades of playing it safe, and she built something totally extraordinary in just 3 years. A 28-year-old man in Chicago deciding to rebuild himself from absolute zero. People come out of the absolute worst seasons of their lives and achieve the impossible simply because they finally made the decision to grow. So right here, right now, you have a choice. You can let another 5 years pass you by, or you can choose one thing today, just one. What is that one thing you have been putting off forever? Is it a scary phone call, writing that business plan, joining a gym, maybe making an apology? Do not wait for Monday. Take just one single step today, because the person you are actually capable of becoming, they are absolutely worth fighting for. Think about this morning again. That alarm went off, and you woke up. That means you still have time. The only question is, what will you choose to build with it today?